Welcome to an Introduction to Genetics, Part 1 of 5 for the Alberta Science 30 curriculum. This covers topics in the Biology Unit or Unit 2. So, inheritance of human characteristics is based on the DNA that those humans are composed of. Traits such as attached earlobes or unattached earlobes are the result of a single gene, as well as the ability to roll your tongue, whether or not you have a widow's peak, and whether or not you can you interlock your fingers left over right or right over left. Have you ever wondered why you look more like your mom than your dad? That's because of the genes that you have. Do you have this thing called the Hitchhiker's Thumb, where the thumb is almost horizontal? If you do, you have the homozygous recessive genotype. If you don't, you have a dominant allele. Genetics is the study of inheritance. Heredity is controlled by the genes that you have. Genes are found on chromosomes, like we've talked about. Each person has 2 genes or alleles for each trait, one from your mother, one from your father. So here's a cartoon in a genetics lab. I think your family's gene pool needs better drainage, so it's sort of funny. What is a gene pool? All the genes in a given population are considered to be the gene pool. An allele is an alternate form of a gene, so blue eyes or brown eyes, those are alleles. We inherit one allele from each parent. Each trait is controlled by at least 2 alleles, and most of them are controlled by more than 2. For example, the alleles, the gene is for eye color, but the alleles can be for either blue eyes or brown eyes. A dominant allele is an allele that masks the effect of a recessive allele. When you are talking about dominant alleles, they are represented by a capital letter. So, for example, the big letter A. A recessive allele is the allele that is masked or covered up by a dominant allele, and it is represented by a lowercase letter. So a little a. Can you roll your tongue? If you can, then you have at least one dominant allele or large T from your mom or your dad. If you cannot, then you have 2 recessive alleles or little t's, one from your mom and one from your dad. A genotype are the genes that make up a trait, and it must contain at least 2 letters. For example, the gene for tongue rolling could be either big T, little t, or big T, big T. Because you only have to have one dominant allele in order to be able to roll your tongue. If you're a non-tongue roller, you have a little t genotype, or 2 recessive alleles. A phenotype is the observable trait of an organism, so it's physical appearance. If you're homozygous dominant, your genotype has 2 dominant alleles, so you're big T for tongue rolling. A homozygous recessive means that you have 2 recessive alleles, so you're little t, or a non-tongue roller. If you're heterozygous, you have 1 dominant and 1 recessive allele. So in the case of tongue rolling, it's big T, little t, and you can still roll your tongue. That's your phenotype. This individual is a carrier of the recessive allele. So here you have John Lennon and his son. They look alike, so oftentimes that's evidence for heredity. They have a similar look or phenotype caused by similarities in their genotype.